Chapter 8. The first sign something was off. There wasn't a moment where everything suddenly broke. If there had been, I think I would have handled it differently. At least then, I would have known what I was fighting. Instead, it started quietly. It started in the space, after things were handled. After a call ended, after a message was sent, after I should have felt settled but didn't. And I remember laying in bed at night, wide awake. Not just awake. Staring at the ceiling, going through everything again. What exactly did they say? What did I say back? Did I explain it clearly enough? Did they understand that I was already struggling to eat? Did they understand this wasn't cosmetic? I would replay the same conversation over and over, word for word, trying to find the moment I got it wrong. Because something didn't feel right. And I couldn't tell if it was the process or if it was me. That's where your mind goes first. You assume it's you. So I didn't rest. I kept going. I would grab my phone again, scroll back through messages, open documents I had already read, look at them again like I might catch something I missed. I wasn't just checking. I was trying to make sure I hadn't just cost myself my own case. Because by this point, I knew what was on the line. I was already struggling to eat. Not in a vague way. In a real, physical, daily way. There were days where I could only manage soft foods. Days where I relied on shakes because chewing hurt too much. Days where eating wasn't just uncomfortable, it felt like a risk. And my body was already fragile. Already dealing with GI issues. Already reacting to what I could and couldn't tolerate. Already making medication harder to manage. I had already lost weight. And I could feel that I didn't have much room left to lose more. That wasn't fear. That was reality. And my doctor already knew that. It was documented. Nutrition was compromised. Oral function mattered. This was affecting my overall stability. So while all of that was happening, I was also laying there at night wondering if I said the wrong thing on a phone call. That's the part people don't see. From the outside, it looks like paperwork, a process, a request moving through steps. But inside your life, it feels like one wrong sentence could push everything in the wrong direction. And things started to feel inconsistent. Not in a big, obvious way. In small ways that are harder to point to. Something that made sense one day didn't feel the same the next time. The same situation would be described slightly differently depending on who I was talking to. And that kind of inconsistency doesn't just confuse you. It destabilizes you. Because you do know which version is real. You don't know which version is actually being used behind the scenes. So I started trying to cover everything. Be clearer, be more precise, explain it better. Not just what was happening, but what it meant. This isn't just dental. This is chewing. This is nutrition. This is my body not getting what it needs. This is medication being harder to take safely. This is everything connected. I was trying to hold that whole picture in place. Because I could feel how easily it could be reduced. And if it got reduced, I knew what would happen. It would become easier to deny, easier to dismiss, easier to move on from. And I didn't have the luxury of that happening. So I stayed in it. Even when I was exhausted. And people around me started noticing. Not dramatically. Just honestly. You didn't sleep again. You're not eating enough. You're doing too much. And I didn't really know how to explain it. Because what I was doing didn't look like something that should take everything out of you. But it did. Because I wasn't just dealing with a process. I was trying to stay ahead of something I didn't trust. And when you don't trust something, you don't rest. You stay alert. You keep thinking, you keep checking, you keep going back over things. Trying to catch the problem before it catches you. And that wears you down. Not all at once, but enough that you start to feel it everywhere. In your body, in your energy, in how thin everything starts to feel. And I still believed at that point that I could fix it. That if I just stayed careful enough, clear enough, thorough enough, it would come together. I didn't realize, yet, that the problem wasn't how hard I was trying. The problem was that the ground I was standing on wasn't stable. And when something isn't stable, you can do everything right and still start to lose your footing. That's where this chapter lives. Not in failure. Not yet. But in the moment where your body is already struggling, your mind is running constantly, and something just under the surface keeps telling you, this isn't steady. I just didn't know yet how much that was going to matter, and I want to be honest about something. By this point, this wasn't just taking time. It was taking energy I didn't have. It was taking focus I needed just to manage my health. It was taking sleep. And I could feel that. I could feel that I was doing everything I was supposed to do, and still feeling like I was falling behind something I couldn't see yet. That's when it started to hit me. This might not be as simple as doing things the right way. And that's a hard place to be. Because if doing it right doesn't protect you, then what does?